Hello, I'm Toycat, and welcome back to the second channel video. This series we'll talk about geography and the world and stuff. And today I wanted to address everyone who has a concern about the increase in quality, the increase in editing and production qualities on this channel. Qualities? That's a quality way to say that word. But I wanted to make sure that all of you who are concerned about that have your fears rest aside, because don't worry, the channel will still be filled with absolutely bottom barrel content. Today I wanted to talk about roads. You might be thinking, ooh, exciting roads. No, I just wanted to talk about some interesting roads that I have been driving on, because I just got back from a 4-day trip going across a lot of the corners of England, honestly, and between every single one of these legs, I came back to London, maybe sillily so, and so I've been driving around a lot of London, and I've seen this city from a whole new angle. You know, most people don't drive around the city, and it's so strange just how the roads work here compared to everywhere else in the world, and so I figured I would literally just go on Google Maps and show you roads that I found to be interesting. These are just 5 roads which are, that is sure so strange that I saw out of my car and that now I'm going to be showing you, internet, because that is the quality, that is the bottom of the barrel that we have reached on this channel, and I hope you look forward to it. And so with that said, let's explain the first thing first, because motorways, everyone knows how they work. These big things are the M25, M1, M4, etc. These are the fastest ways around the country. They're controlled access, they've got the highest speeds. Everyone knows motorways, autobahns, interstate highways, etc. However, you might not know that very few of these go into the city. I think that, as you can see, you can see some of them go into London, but they usually stop as they get closer and closer, because motorways through the city centre is not the dream that people wanted in London. And so here's something really interesting. When the motorways hit the city centre, they kind of fizzle out into main roads. So if we look right here, for example, this is the M4, and so it goes over London playing fields, which is very funny, and it looks like a motorway still. I mean, I think you've got slower speed limits than a motorway, but it looks like a motorway for the most part. I mean, it's a road and it's going through some playing fields, and that's how motorways be. However, eventually it fizzles out, but while it's still sort of a motorway, again, that's the M4 there, this is the Great West Road, so the first road that the M4 has turned into, while it's just going down the street, it does something very interesting, which is it starts to go past people's houses. So you can see this is a 6-lane, it's a motorway, it's got the billboard up there being like, ooh, what you gonna do around here? And as you're driving down this street, okay, I picked a bad point to go down it, but as you're driving down this street, something really interesting happens, and people's houses start to be on the side of the motorway. This is not normal in my country. Maybe it's normal where you live. There's also a plane flag up above, but it's really, really strange to imagine someone driving down the motorway, or it's the precursor to a motorway, right? It's got the same big barrier, the controlled access points, but you're driving down the motorway, and then you just pull off to your house. These people have a house on the side of the motorway, and again, what's even crazier about this is like, oh, living on the side of the motorway might be hard, right? These are, this is London. These are £1 million houses. Can we find that out real quick? Yeah, we can. 51 Ellesmere Road, Zoopla. What is that house worth? That house is, apparently, it's sold for, it's only worth about 400, oh, it's a flat. Each of those flats are worth 440,000, but if you were to buy the entire thing, 49, there we go, the rough estimate is about, it's somewhere between 846k and 1.27 million. So if you want to live on the side of a highway, which, you know, is you might think it's undesirable, but again, if you're just living close enough to West London, these are houses that are actually worth 1 point something million to live. Again, what to me, it sounds crazy, but apparently that's not to everyone. Also, yeah, getting out of this must be a nightmare in the morning or anywhere else. And also, if you want to go somewhere, you can't go across the other side of the road. You've got to keep following outside, so even if you're going inside of London. You know, what I'm trying to say here is this is a really weird and wacky idea. And you know what else is a weird, wacky idea that the UK is fond of? People always tell me, roundabouts. Except roundabouts, even though we say we use them all the time, the truth is, especially in places of low land area, you can't use roundabouts. So if you look at some major intersections in the UK, you'll notice they're not roundabouts. This would be easier if it was a roundabout, but we don't have the space because we've got a big sign saying, let's change the way we shop. I mean, you know, that's something we can't move. You're moving, you know, literally millions of pounds of real estate if you want to build a roundabout. And oh, that's a Selfridges. Okay. But that's the basic, you know, like idea behind this. And so, but as a result, most of London is intersections, but every now and then you find roundabouts. Except wherever there's space for roundabouts, there's usually a lot of traffic flow. There's a few exceptions to this. So this is Charing Cross. It is the very center of London. It's a roundabout, and it's kind of quirky and cute and fun. However, there's a lot of roundabouts that need to carry major amounts of traffic, and I don't even fully understand why. I've gone past this one a few times. This is where the A201 meets the A2 meets whatever this road is, Tower Bridge Road. And so those are all pretty busy roads, and so the roundabout between them starts to look like this. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lanes across, plus 2 cycle lanes, because obviously cyclists need to go left, but sometimes they're going round. And as you can see, that's the A2 South over there. These are for the A100. This is for the A2 North and the A2 North. And as you go around the roundabout, more lanes come on and join up and etc. And so you start to get roundabouts that are just like these huge monstrosities, if we're being totally honest. But because these roundabouts are so wide, and honestly, they don't actually work as roundabouts. They have traffic lights, and so they're just a weird set of junctions arranged in a circle with a big green space in the middle that no one can use. You know, I'm not going for a picnic in the middle of this roundabout, but they're gonna act like I am. So there's a big, it's a big roundabout with this wasted, arguably, space in the middle. And then even weirder, because so much of this traffic is just following the A201. I don't know, is that a major road? Maybe it is. But because so much of the traffic is following the A201, including me, sometimes, perhaps you could say. Well, by sometimes, I mean literally once. I was really excited. My sat-nav was like, you need to go right on this. And so as a result, the roundabout is so crowded, they worked out it'd be better to build one of these. It is a roundabout lane that allows you to skip over the roundabout and just go straight over the top. I believe it is just the one way, which makes it even weirder in my opinion. Then it allows everyone going on the A201 to skip the roundabout altogether. It's a 5-lane roundabout where that wasn't enough lanes, so they added a 6th lane, or a 7th? Is that 2 lanes at the top or 1? They added a 6th lane going, oh man, I hate when you highlight Google Maps because I have no idea how to unhighlight it. Anyway, so they added a 6th lane going over the top, because that is the crazy way that it be. Okay, it's only 1 lane up here. I mean, it's pretty wide for 1 lane, right? For London especially, they've got these little zigzags to let you know that they could have fit 2 cars here. They just kind of chose not to. Also, there's little pedestrian sidewalks. Are you allowed to walk on this bridge? I don't know how to... You know what? Google Maps is the worst for trying to get... Are you allowed to walk on this? That's the only way you can conclude the little pavements, right? You know, that's going to be fun. I'm going to go sightseeing on this bridge sometime. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I guess I could drive and then get out, perhaps. Anyway, so interesting roads around London. I'm relatively new to this whole driving thing, so I bet everyone's going to be like, oh, I knew about that forever. But this is so interesting to me, like, seeing road infrastructure, because most roads are just roads. You go down the road and then you get to the place, but sometimes roads are like entirely crazy, and so let me show you 2 examples of this. One is the type of road that we would have if we lived in America or Russia or, you know, one of those countries. So first of all, here's a fun fact. Did you know the little Google Maps, what's it called, the meeple or whatever, looks like the Queen if you do it near Buckingham Palace? Isn't that cute? I think that's adorable. But what also is fun is a street called the Mall. This is one of my favorite streets to cycle down. It always feels a bit like it's a bit nerve-wracking, but it's very cute. It's just a big, I think it's 6-lane road that just goes through London to get you to Buckingham Palace, the absolute center of the city. It's funny because I think the goal was to make like this big parade street where, I don't know, the military can drive their tanks down or something. But the end result is it means that the Queen's residence, Buckingham Palace, I know she doesn't live there most of the time, but one of her residences, you know, the Queen's second house, her central London little flat, little abode, that the Queen's house over there actually has a lot of traffic going around it because it is a major thoroughfare. Also, this is a roundabout too, around a big fountain. Also, there's a lot of people, like, I don't know, protesting today. Is this just a normal day, actually? Are there just people looking at the roundabout? What's happening on the day this Google Maps car is going through? They actually shut off part of the roundabout. Is that part of the roundabout always shut off, actually? I think it is. I think it was a roundabout and they changed it. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, this place, you can never drive through here now that I think about it. Or can you ever drive through here? Let's find out. Okay, so... No, you can't, apparently. Well, it used to be a roundabout, and now it's just a circle, which is something that happens surprisingly often. Like I said, roundabouts are really good for this perfect medium density flow, and you've got lots of land area. In London, a lot of the times, they take a roundabout, and they just go, yeah, we're going to take a leg off it. You can see how this clearly used to be a roundabout, but they get more traffic flow by limiting that last little segment, and so they turned it into a multiplex gate PW, or the Castle Square, and, you know, whatever, they're building something there. Also, never access to the station, it looks like. How very nice. And yeah, now pedestrians and bikes and whatever have a way across the other side, but not cars. And somehow removing part of a roundabout can actually speed up traffic. I don't understand it in the slightest. This is a scary roundabout to be driving around, and although it's not actually. It's a road that takes a very weird way of going right. If you look at it, like it could have just cut across there, but instead you go the long way around. And that's how roads work. It apparently is okay. Speaking of things that are okay, so I kind of showed you how roads could be if we were all like, yes, in glorious Russia, we accept that our houses must be bulldozed so that we may have beautiful tanks go down street. So you can see right here, like a lot of the center of Russia leading up to Red Square, artificially widened so they can have their big parades and get their tanks through them. They literally had to move buildings back, but it's okay because, you know, now we can have glorious tank parades, and we can do that in the UK too. Hope you enjoy my terrible Russian accent. But we also have the exact opposite. Like, something I think is funny is people in the UK get terrified when they go to America and see their mega wide roads. I'm just going to pick a random interstate in Los Angeles. Oh my god, what is this road? I'm just going to pick a random interstate and be like, yeah, there's like, okay, so this is actually only 3 lanes across and then 2 lanes and then another 3. You know, it's not that bad for looking highway, but highways can be mega wide. Yeah, look at this. There's so many ways of going across it. And so British people and Europeans are generally scared of the massive roads, the wide roads in America, whereas Americans are scared of coming to the UK. In London, there's got a lot of examples, but I love the country road equivalent. I drove through Tatterport as part of my trip, you might find. Do you want to see that? It was a bit too long to do in 4 days, I would say. Anyway, so I was driving through Tatterport, and as you go past their village hall, it's a very nice village hall. Should we see what is it rated well, actually? Is it very nice? 4.6 stars. Ooh, yeah. What's that? Clean and tidy hall, great for parties and celebrations, and reasonable rates per hour. Wow, this is a great place to come. And if you wanted to get here, do you know what you could do? You could drive down. Oh, I didn't want to do that. What is... Okay, let's close this, and let's show you the street next to it. Okay, where are we now? We're in some tiny little village. Imagine this. Imagine just someone parking a tractor outside their house. I feel like I couldn't do that where I lived because the tractor might be stolen. Anyway, so you're driving down to Tatterport Village Hall, and yeah, so you're driving up the street and you're thinking like, wow, this is a narrow street, and it's so steep. And then as you're driving up, the road is like, oh, by the way, if you're curious what this one means right here, this sign means there is no speed limit, or rather it means the national speed limit applies. That means you can go 60 miles per hour. Actually, wait. There's a sign saying 30 that's fallen down into the ground here. I'm not sure what I'm meant to take from that, actually. Do I go on this speed limit or this speed limit? But you might be thinking like, okay, for a single lane road going 60, I guess it's fine if you have lots of visibility. It's also kind of weird because the only indication you should slow down is a sign saying, please drive slowly, horse riders. And, you know, I don't know what I would have done if I was driving 60 and I hit a horse. Do you exchange insurance information? Are horses insured? If the horse damages my car, how do we deal with that? Anyway, so as you can see, this is a road that's very, very narrow, and this is both directional. It is not one way. It is not like, oh yeah, you go up this way and you'll never encounter someone coming the opposite way. You go up this road and there might be someone coming around you around each bend. There is no physical way. Like, it barely fits one car. I'd say it's like 1.2 cars wide if we had to really stretch things. And so what happened to me is I came up this hill. I waited at the junction just in case someone was coming. No one was, because of course it's a road this small. As I was driving up this street, a big SUV comes rolling down the other side, and it's like, let's try and go past each other. I put so much of my car in this bush. You know, this bush doesn't look like this anymore. There's a giant car-shaped hole in this bush, and they put a lot of their car into this bush, and we still couldn't get past each other, so they had to like go all the way back to, did you see it? There's like a parking, just up there. It's called a passing place. This is a thing this is the reality of country roads. Apparently, there's a little bit of width here, so they squeeze their car right up against the bush in this space right here, and then I again got my wind mirror very severely in a bush, and then boom, we got past each other. Except then there was another car behind them, so they had to reverse a little bit further. It was a nightmare. All I'm saying is don't... Look at this. Right up here, you actually have space all of a sudden, and it looks more like a reasonable road. Why are there tiny roads like this? I don't know, man. Welcome to the rural parts of the UK. But the funny thing is, so as a lot of people... I posted this on Twitter. Wait, can I show you if I post this on Twitter? I cannot. This is not a Twitter link. But do you want to see my fun? Do you want to see my fun way of remembering the lakes of North America? Anyway, so if it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, them you London people don't understand how we live in the rural areas. I don't know why rural people are Jamaican, but they are. Trust me, that is just how it is. And it's funny though, because while you're driving around London, you'll come across the same thing all the time. So let's go to East London, a classic. We'll drive around. Okay, so let's say we're in Haggerston. So this isn't even that central London. As you're driving down these streets, I bet the Google Streetcar will have some issues because you're driving down the street and it's like, yeah, people can park here and they can park here. Like, these are people's houses. This is, like, they need to be able to park in front of their house because that's a thing that we allow in the UK. Like, every house has to come with a parking space. Something like that. I think nowadays you can build flats without parking spaces, so these guys all share the parking spaces here. This is a weird set of flats, right? I mean, it's clearly like a council building of some form, or ex-council building. But it's still so weird to look at. Like, the design of it just doesn't... I don't understand it. Anyway, so, as you can see, the width of the road is actually more like this. Even though they put a dividing line down the center, like, because it's two ways, you can go in both directions, you can fit one car down here. And you definitely can't go the full 20 while there's two parked cars on both sides. And so, yeah, there is this very kind of silly little thing here that basically is... although we have roads that are wide enough in London to fit two cars in each way, most of the roads, the residential roads, are like that. If there is a car coming in both directions, you have to do the same thing. You have to find a little parking space, temporarily move in there, and wait for someone to go past. And yeah, because people in London are in a hurry to go somewhere, you better believe it's more stressful too. People are like, no, I don't even... Wait, actually, let me show you a road. I was waiting... I forget where I was even going for this one, but I was way out east, and by that I mean the far east of Limehouse. I mean, can you believe someone living this far east? Anyway, so I was somewhere around here, and I was on a street, like, desperately waiting to turn right. I'll just pretend it's this one. It's not this one, but I was waiting to turn right. Okay, this has traffic lights, and the cars behind are just like honk honk. Like, they could see all the traffic, but they're like, yeah, you should have just went for it, man. This is how... And, yeah, it's very stressful driving around here. Let me find the exact one, actually. Was it here? I think it was near Wapping. I want to say it's somewhere in this little development. Let's pretend it's here, because this definitely won't have a traffic light. Okay, look at this. It might have been exactly here, actually. It's like, yeah, so you got to cross... Two lanes of traffic. It's an A road, so it's always flowing. And it's like, yeah, turning right is the equivalent to turning left in America, I guess. It's really hard, and everyone wants to go places all the time, and it's stressful. Speaking of things that are stressful, I've got one last thing I want to show you, and that is just, like, I think people mention how great roundabouts are and how we use them in Europe all the time, and they don't really use them in America so much. And that is certainly true. If you look around here, you'll see that the common way that motorway junctions work, so this is where the airport way reaches Horton Road, reaches the London Orbital Motorway, the M25. And so if you look at it really closely, you'll see that the way basically all junctions work between motorways and other major roads is a roundabout. You have a roundabout, connect all the roads, you go around it, round and round and round until you reach your exit. It's the way most of these things work. But what's really interesting about this particular section of the M25 is you'll see when you leave the motorway, you have a choice of two ways to go. So you can go to Heathrow Terminal 5 or Heathrow Terminal 4. Heathrow Terminal 4 takes you to that roundabout I just showed you. But if you go to the right and you go to Heathrow Terminal 5, the more modern one, man, this is... Look at the width of this road. I was just complaining about American width roads. This is crazy. It's like 4 on the M25, 2 over here, 2 over there. Building roads is hard, as it turns out. But if you just go a little bit up the road, you'll see that no one's here, apparently, because no one's going to Heathrow Terminal 5 in March 2022. You know, why does everyone insist on going on summer holidays in the summer? Why can't we just, as a civilization, sit down and have an adult conversation with ourselves about, hey, isn't it better to travel when there's fewer other people traveling? Doesn't it suck when you get your bag lost and you're stuck delayed in an airport for 3 days and you're, like, wouldn't it be better if we spread ourselves out? What if we just went on our holidays, not during the August, just rant aside. Anyway, so as you can see, this is one of those weird spaghetti junctions where you, like, fly over it and, like, look at that, there's another lane coming from somewhere. And if you look at this closely on a map, you'll see, like, oh, yeah, that's one of those crazy spaghettis. And then there's that. And then just a little bit further up, there's one of these, what is it called, a cloverleaf interchange? And so, yeah, it's kind of crazy to me that although the norm in the UK is roundabouts, and although the norm in America is spaghetti, the truth is different road building situations make sense in different situations. And what we're really, like talking about when we say roundabouts are so much better is medium traffic flow is so much better, whereas heavy traffic flow, how else are you going to do that besides 2 sets of lights? And so the most famous intersection in London, probably wish I'd had a famous intersection in mind when I said those words. Is it going to be this one? Oh, this one is such a big intersection. They literally did the thing they do in like third world countries. It's only third world countries, if we're being honest with ourselves, and America. But it's like they did the whole like, we're just going to build a massive overpass because we physically can't have the lights work like that anymore. It's fascinating. And yeah, have I alienated enough people with this video? I think I should go for some more. So yeah, just a reminder, if you like, because I think on the internet we have these big debates about like, is cars better or not cars? And first of all, if you're a motorist or a not motorist, you're an idiot. You should be picking your mode of transport based on the situation. Don't pick a car because you think to yourself like, I love how I can leave the house and then when I come home, let me go to your dream house if you're someone who self-defines as a motorist. I love how I can come home and I'm right on the road, so it's going where I want to be. Because if you would like to live here, this is the right over here. This is the same as whoa. What is this? Look at that. That's really strange. Is that like designed to keep the noise out from their apartment? I'm assuming. But if you'd like to live in there or here, oh, this is man. You just look around at houses and it's like, what is this? A former church? This is a pub. How would you get to this pub? It's on the side of the... There's not even parking, even if that... Can you get to it on the other way? How do you get to this pub? I genuinely don't understand how that can that can't be a real pub, right? Okay, so I guess the actual pub is on the... Yeah, it's mistaken. This is the Bow Gazette Court, which is even more confusing if we dive into it. The way you get to this pub is you walk. Because here's the deal, if you like being close to the road, you might like being close to the train station. If you like being close to the train station, but, like where you live, the trains aren't so good, you might be better being close to the road and having access to a car, even though it has all those costs involved. I think everyone should be kind of willing to accept that, like, yeah, the best transportation method for the situation is the one, and every transportation method has its huge societal downsides. If you, for instance, like driving cars, you like poisoning the lungs of little children. If you like hopping on the bus, then you like, I don't know, when buses hit other forms of transport, doesn't go well for them. If you like hopping on a train, then you're leaving your entire life at the whims of people who can hold you to hostage via your government and say, nah, you don't go somewhere today. You want to go somewhere today? Nah, we've decided no. We could, there is a lot of trade, and that's like on the bare minimum. Like on a good day, it could just not work. You could just not get home because, there is a staffing issue, or there is a reliability issue, or there's a cat on the line somewhere. Have I ever told the story if I was on a date with someone, and they heard like, the train is delayed because of a dog on the tracks. And they're like, oh, there's a dog on the tracks. And this is one of those moments where I realize, like, sometimes you should say nothing. Sometimes you just go, yeah, that's probably what it is. But I didn't say that. And so, yeah, just a reminder that every form of transport has its downsides. And the one true transport is, of course, walking. If you just live in walking distance to everything you want to live in, then it will only cost you £1.27 million. Honestly, that's pretty... You wouldn't be able to be within walking distance for this. You'd need to live, like, way more central. Should we look into it this closer? Anyway, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If I offended you, then, you picked the wrong YouTube channels. Because I hope that you want to see more of these videos. I'm just kidding. Also, you know what is funny? I'm sure it is a coincidence. But as soon as I did start making the edited videos, I did have a Patreon drop. So I'm just saying, a lot of people are like, no, I can't deal with this anymore. What do you mean that you're going to take the Patreon money and you're going to actually use it to make the videos better? How dare you? Also, apparently, there was $6 of declines in August. I don't know what that means, but that's exciting. So... yeah, what does it mean when... Also, thank you for the people who give me money every single month. I appreciate it. I will use it. I do promise. The vast majority goes not to improving this channel in the slightest. It goes to silly luxury expenses, to food and to drinks. Don't you worry. None of that improving this whole thing that you're watching. Just to me and feeding my soul. Thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Second channel. Was this even 5 roads actually? I hope so. Okay, just in case it wasn't, here's a road that's interesting. It's the Brent Cross flyover. What is this actually? Why does this road exist here? What is this? You know, this is not the Brent Cross flyover. Why would you? Oh, if you turn it, where does? Okay, this is actually very okay. So it's like a way to let you get over to these houses here, very specifically, but you have to cross traffic at a wider point than, you know. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy the video. Second channel. I want to look at more roads now. Should we just look at roads for a bit? Do you want to look at weird roads I haven't been on now? Let's do that. I mean, what are you doing with your day anyway? Did you want it to be over? Well, tough. Okay, so here is a weird. This is where the A1 meets the North Hill. Wow, sure is strange. Oh, I've driven down. I remember taking this right. I was kind of terrified. Same thing. It's like a major arterial road, and then people live on the side of it. These houses look cute though. They also look a bit smaller. I bet they're more affordable. And this guy has a driveway, which must be nice. Because again, having like special parking, you know the odds of these guys having an accident where someone smashes their car at crazy speed. You know it's much higher. I don't know why they all insist on driving expensive cars, knowing that is true. You know, that's a funny thing about London. Like, even though, like, because to drive here you need to be an extra level of wealthy. Even though, like, it's a lot of poorer people that need to do it too in the outskirts. But to drive in central London, you're deciding to make a worse decision, financially speaking. And so, you know, a lot of those people are like, well, it's for a prestige because they want to drive their nice car. So if you look around, like, I don't know, any random, it's like Mercedes, and then this is not a classy car, and that's not either. But you get the point. You know, this is a Toyota Prius, and this is a... Yeah, anyway, I hope you all enjoy the video. If you liked it, then, I don't know, have a good rest of your day, and then tell me about what you did in the comments down below tomorrow. How many of you will remember to do that? I'm gonna check the comments tomorrow, and I'm gonna be disappointed in those of you who don't. I want to hear about your days today, damn it. Okay, goodbye. No, I like when I don't end videos. It's kind of fun. Like, you expect it to be over, and then it's not. And then I'm looking at the Peasant, which has got to be a cheap pub, right? It's got to be affordable. If it's not, I'm gonna be. If you go to the Peasant and they charge you too much for a fish and chips with garden peas for £14, a peasant could not afford that. Hate to tell you. Hate to tell you. So, yeah, I will not be making a booking at this pub. I will be going to the finest establishment of best kebab instead. Anyway, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video, because I'll see you next time. Goodbye. I think we should end on a road. If we're going to end somewhere, it's got to be like... Yeah, there we go. Because that way if someone skips to the end, it's like... And that sums up my master thesis on why British roads do be different, though. Goodbye.